Hi, I'm Tracy Markley from Tracy's Personal Training, Pilates and Yoga, and I have been speaking to some of you guys who are going through stroke recovery, and I've made a few videos, and I've had many messages asking me to do some more. So I am going to do a little more for you. I just got new lighting. My last video wasn't completely clear. So I'm working on learning all the technical parts. So this is my first video with my new light setup. So we'll see how that works. And so today I'm going to go over a little bit about balancing on the balance disc, which is a green one, the Bosu ball, which is a blue one, and also doing some exercises with the Swiss ball. All these props are unstable surfaces, which means when you're on them, you have to be challenged with your balancing muscles and your brain and spinal column, which is your central nervous system, gets stimulated. And most of us need this work to help our core be strong and help keep our brain active, helps with sports. And when people have neurological challenges or recovering from a stroke, it's really essential that you add this kind of props to your program, because as you're stimulating your central nervous system and working on maybe your spasticity in your hand or your legs or learning to fix that drop foot, these really play a really important role in it. I've had a lot of success with clients. I've written 2 books. One is called The Stroke of an Artist, The Journey of a Fitness Trainer and a Stroke Survivor. And it is a gentleman I met when he was 6 months post-stroke, as he walked into the gym in a walker. And by 3 years post-stroke, he was walking across 4 or 5 Bosu balls. He was able to participate 3 days a week in full mat Pilates classes. That was not how he started, and it was a slow progress, but he was somebody who exercised almost every single day. And he was an excellent example of how movement every day and being persistent brings back movements that you've lost, that people lose when they have strokes. So you don't gain so much back if you just sporadically do exercises, do something half hour once a week. You need to work on it every day. Although there are people in recovery that they come back really quick. There's a name for that. They call it something miracle. But some people's strokes they heal quickly. In really short time, just like in a couple weeks, they don't have any symptoms left, or a month. That's not always because they worked really hard to get it back. That's something in their brain that just shifted quicker to recover, because everyone recovers differently. So today, I'm going to talk a little bit about balancing. I'm going to go over a little bit of muscles. And I don't have shoes on. It's best if your shoes are on when you're balancing on the disc. The Bosu ball depends on you. The shoes give you a little more ankle support. And so do what you feel is best. Everyone's at different levels. Some people will be able to sit on a ball like this freely. Some will have struggles. You have to honor where you are in your recovery and work with that. So today, we went over this little in the last video. This is called a Swiss ball. Some people call it an exercise ball. The last few years, it gets called a Pilates ball or yoga ball, but basically it's a big ball, and you can sit on it. And when you're sitting on it, you zip up your tummy like you're sitting up nice and tall. You want your posture tall. You don't want to be like this. You don't want your legs wrapped on the ball. You don't want your legs out here. You want to sit up nice and tall, where your shin bones are straight up and down and you're not touching the ball with your calves. You don't want to be wrapped on the ball. You want to be right here, tummy zipped up. And from the front view, you want your feet with your toes spread and anchored evenly. See my feet very well. Let's take that down just a little bit. Okay, so when you're on here, spread those toes, anchor your feet, whether either you have your shoes on or shoes off, you still want to get that sensation with your feet. So see how my shins are straight up and down, my foot's not turned out, I'm not sitting like this, because you want to get hip stability, get your abs in, line up those hips, your knees and ankles lined up, and balance this way. Depending on your level, this may be challenging enough. You can put it against something to hold on to. If you're at home, a couch. If you have a ballet bar or something around you, you can hold on to something. Sometimes if you're still unstable, you can actually put the ball into the couch or into something so you have stability with the ball. And in time, you'll work to having nothing in your space. One of the exercises that helps build pelvic stability, stability in the legs, because you need your pelvic stable. This area of your body needs to be stable for walking. If this is all weak and loose and your glute muscles and your hip and pelvic is weak, you're not going to gain back lifting your foot as proper again. If your foot drops and drags when you walk, it needs to come back from your pelvic being strong, as well as working the foot and the angle. So I use a ball about this size. You can use a toy ball from a store. It's a little squeezy. It doesn't have to be really squeezy. This is a bender ball. They come like 7 inches, 7 to 10 inch balls when you buy them. And they call them Pilates balls, yoga balls, the bender ball, or go to the toy store and get a toy ball. This squeezes a little bit. And what you want to do is you want to stick it right through here. So from the side view, you'll be in here, sitting up tall, shoulders stacked over your hips. Don't be leaning like this. Imagine you're putting a tight girdle, you're zipping yourself up, setting your shoulders. The ball's right here. And you are going to, shins are still straight up and down. Gentle squeezes on the ball. Squeeze and release with control. Don't be all spastic with it. Don't squeeze and pop it out. Squeeze and release. Zip up your abs, meaning imagine you're putting a tight pair of jeans, you're zipping up a girdle. Hold this nice and snug. Do not squeeze your buns. Don't squeeze your butt. Gently squeeze and release. My feet are still anchored. You may find, if you have a weak side, which most likely many of you do, when you squeeze the ball, one side may be like that. It's going to be harder to keep that stability. But the more you practice, the more the stability will come because you're strengthening in the inner thigh, the outer thigh, the hips, your low abs, your pelvic floor, especially if you're engaged in sitting upright, and all the deep spine muscles that you need for posture and balance. And that deep ab muscle, the transverse muscle, is working to hold you on the ball. And as your that foot tries to turn out or your feet don't want to be stable, unless it hurts your joints, force them into position. If it hurts your joint to force it, do not force it. But work with just sitting up tall, gentle squeezes. Maybe do 3 sets of 10, a couple sets of 20s, depending on you. I worked with some people who were still in a walker or in a wheelchair, and just doing like 5 or 6 of these, they felt their legs that they haven't felt before. So it's a simple exercise, but it does a lot because you want stability in your knees, stability in your hips and pelvic, and then through here, this simple exercise will help you with that. It will help with walking, and so that's part of working with the foot drop, pelvic stability for walking, even if you don't have the foot drop or foot drag. As you're walking on the treadmill or practicing your walking, keep your feet stable as can be. So, in other words, if you're walking, try to keep your feet here. Don't walk and just go wherever they want to go. It's gonna at first, depending where you are in your stroke, but try to focus on keeping them even when you walk. Going backwards is very good for your brain. Going backwards helps people walk forward, but you have to do it when you're safe. So if you're in a walker, go safely or have someone with you. I like doing it in front of mirrors. I like to have people walk towards a mirror and then walk back so they can visually see what's coming up behind them. And I don't suggest doing this unless you feel safe. going backwards sometimes isn't the safest thing to do in the beginning after a stroke. It depends on the level of recovery you have to work on. Some studies say walk backwards on a treadmill. I don't suggest that. I don't find it safe. If you fall, you're going to get hurt. And if you have that foot drop and foot dragging, going backwards on a belt is not a safe thing to do. Unless you're with a therapist and they have the straps on you and you're in a safe environment and they're with you, that's a whole different story. But I wouldn't go to the gym or go to your treadmill you have at your home and just start walking backwards on it. I'd rather people walk without that. Keep your abs in, shoulders up, so even when you're walking, you want good form. You want to be like this because you're taking all your pelvic and hips out of the stability mode, and you won't gain the stability back because you'll be building the muscles in the wrong angles that work. So your muscles have certain jobs in the body, and if they're trained out of alignment or in poor functioning position, you're not going to gain back good functioning ability. And the body, the way it works mechanically and all the systems and the organs, it's a scientific fact. When your posture, structural alignment, so you're strong in this position, you're not strong in this position, your organs will work better and all the systems will flow better through your fascia. And the fascia has a lot to do with your movement and walking. Remember, you have nerves that go through fascia as well. So this is one thing to add to trying to fix the foot drop, walking ability, making sure your feet clear when you're walking. So you have your proprioception and spatial awareness. That's being aware where you move in space, being aware of your surroundings. And one of the things is clients have come to me, seniors, stroke survivors, different neurological issues, to where when they're walking, there's something on the floor to step over, they don't clear the space right, and then they trip because they have lost the awareness in space connecting to their brain and their feet to clear an object clear again like you did before any of these challenges came up. So some of these exercises I'm going to go over now will really help with that. So this is a balance disc. Put that one aside for a moment. I'm going to pull out the Bosu ball. I think I'm going to grab this one from over here. Okay. This is the Bosu ball. If you cannot do it without holding on, like right here of a ballet bar, you can stand hold on to the bar, hold on to the side of it, whatever works for you, but make sure you are safe. I'm going to show you without the bar so I can be in front of the camera a little better. So you're on the Bosu ball, you want to put your feet evenly space to space. So they're going to be right through here on the ball because you can't stand on the angles. It's going to make you fall off. So come up here. I suggest shoes on, shoes off if you think you can. Spread your toes, anchor your feet. Feet are facing the same direction. I'm going to angle this down just a little more. So maybe you can see what I'm doing, my feet a little more. I'm going to bring that closer. In my books, it shows you this as well. So when you're on the ball, you're going to come up to here. Find your space in the center. Tighten up those tummies and just stand really tall. Stand tall from your hips, your shoulders, your head's nice and tall. And just standing here, you're working all the deep muscles for the balancing system. You're stimulating your central nervous system, which is your brain and spinal column. And remember, your body's trying to make new pathways to parts of your body that's not working as well anymore. So if you have that foot dragging, it's going to help you to work on this. So what you want to do, and again, you can put this right under a bar and hold onto a bar standing up tall. Step up, find your balance, step back down. So you're going to be stepping up, step right back down, and try to work on where your feet are in space. So know this foot's landing here. Make this foot land here. Make this foot land here. make this foot land here. What you may find in the beginning is you're kind of landing, you can't get your foot where you want it, especially that foot that's been affected by the stroke. Sometimes you may have to put it there. You may get up with the foot that hasn't been struggling from the stroke, we'll say it's this one, and this foot may kind of drag a little. If you're hold on to the bar and help it up there. Same thing when you're stepping up. You may step off and fall, you step backwards a little bit. Work on holding on and working on putting your feet where you want them to be. It depends on your stage. I've had clients to where when they're taking down the foot that's the affected side, it kind of maybe slides down a little harder, and it may have a harder time stepping up. So working on that, doing maybe, let's see, depending on your level, depending how fatigued you get still, step up with the right foot, step down with the right foot, maybe do 10 or 15 of those, then switch to stepping up with the left foot and stepping back with the left foot. Don't go for speed, go for putting the feet where you want them to be. If they don't land where you want them to be, get them to the right position before you step back down. This way your brain and feet start connecting to where they are in space again. And if you keep practicing this daily if you can, as many times a week as you can. I know not everyone has a Bosu ball. They are at most gyms. You can get one. They're maybe $99 to $100. I know it's not always feasible for everyone, but they are really good to have, and they're excellent props for recovery. If you go look up some top neurological stroke recovery therapy places, they're using things like this all the time, and they can do a lot more with them with their clients because they have the straps and the machines and all these things with them. And as a trainer, we can always do so much, and you can only do so much at home because safety comes first. But in everything you're doing, I want you to imagine you're putting on a tight belt, tight girdle, and keeping this nice and snug, because I'm going to share with you right now some things that will help you understand why it's important to do these. So, you have this muscle right here. This is called your transverse abdominis muscle. It's a deep ab muscle. It's like you have a girdle on your body. It literally wraps around your body like you're wearing a nice tight girdle, or women wear the nice snug wedding dresses or tight clothes. This muscle keeps your pelvic steady. It helps you breathe better. When this muscle is stronger, it holds you up here. So when people have bad posture and they're always trying to sit in a machine and do this to fix it, it's not going to work unless this structure is strong enough to hold you up. So work from the inside out. And this muscle here, which I shared in the last video too, this is your multifidus muscle. This is the deep spine muscle. This is the main stabilizer of your spine. Your brain sends a message to this muscle before anything else in the body, telling the body to stabilize because the limbs, the arm and legs, are going to move. So if you're trying to get your stability back, your walking back, your balance back, control of your feet, all the things when you have these neurological challenges and stroke recovery, you've got to work the center of the body. You're not going to get as far if you just sit in the machines at the gym. You need to stand. Just standing on the Bosu ball, balancing will work this deep muscle. Or on the disc, or just sitting on the ball too, whatever one you can do, or rotate them around. And as you're stepping up and down in here, like I was just showing you, as you're stepping and balancing, your brain's going, balance, stabilize your body as it's connecting to the feet. It's going to bring the connection of the pathways and the messages from your head to the center of the body of your feet. It's going to rebuild that quicker. Because if the brain sends a message here naturally first, and this is all weak, and you're just trying to fix it from the feet up, it's going to take longer. This is the muscle that is essential for the body. So remember that, because you have the transverse muscle, you have this muscle, and then you have the pelvic floor muscles. I don't have a picture with me right now. So when you look at this, this is like these muscles together. You got the multifidus muscles coming up the back. And you have the pelvic floor is down here, and right through here is this deep transverse muscle. And then you have all these other layers of muscles deep inside as well. So think of this whole trunk, nice and strong, holding you up so your limbs and your legs can walk more stable. If you're like this, you're not going to be able to pick your feet up very well. Your shoulders aren't going to work well. If you have a shoulder injury, it's not going to heal unless you come up to here and get that shoulder girdle in place. Then you can start getting your movements back in your arms. It's like a system, like the body starts from the center and works its way out for movement. So, does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So, but another tip with this is this muscle and your pelvic floor muscle is on the same neuromuscular loop as this one. So what that means is they're all on like the same loop. This muscle must be strong in order for this one to work properly. So sitting on that ball, standing in the BOSU ball, standing on the disc, keeping this nice and zipped up as you balance there helps work all that system. As well as if you're able to do some other Pilates classes, mat Pilates, and Pilates is excellent for stroke recovery. It depends where you're at, what level you can be. Start your own level and go your level. Don't try to do what other people are doing in the class. Let the teacher know where you're at. I suggest Pilates, that it's the Joseph Pilates method. In 1999, year 2000, some fitness instructors took the name Pilates, because Joseph Pilates passed away several years ago, took the name Pilates to court and tried to take the patent off of it. So now it's kind of a generic name like yoga. So not every Pilates teacher teaches the true Joseph Pilates method. Some of them has kind of created their own method, and they're just planking and doing all these things in class, which isn't really the structure of how Joseph Pilates created the Pilates method to be, because it works with your neurological system, the fascias, the flowing of the body, smoothly, with precision, and working like it does in everyday life. So I suggest working with BOSU balls, balance discs, finding someone who works with Pilates, who knows what you're going through. I had an experience, which is my first book, The Stroke of an Artist. It was an artist who lives in town here who had a stroke, and he couldn't read, he couldn't write, couldn't talk at first either. He had a really hard time. He was still in a walker at 6 months when I met him. But he was someone who was with me 5 to 6 days a week. And as he built up, he was able to be in my classes I taught. So he trained privately with me. And he also was a student in my Pilates classes I taught. And he just sat right next to me, by me in front of the class. And so I can keep an eye on him. So basically, he was able to train me 6 days a week. That is a rare thing for most survivors, and rare for most instructors or trainers to even have that chance. But I learned so much working with him, and it was a perfect example. If you do something every day, things can come back. So you want to be repetitive, consistent, get that core strong. You have to get this part of your body strong. It's like trying to grow fruit on a tree that's hollow. You start putting anything on, it's just going to fall over. It's just weak. This needs to be strong so everything out here can build up. And think of it this way. If you're trying to gain these movements back and walking and different structural things that your challenge is, everybody's different with their challenges, obviously at different levels. You guys all know that. If your brain goes here first before it goes out here, and you don't get this strong, it's like driving down a road, you're hitting a roadblock, and you have to find other ways to get there, and you don't know where to go. But if you get this stronger, and as your brain's trying to send messages here and then out to your limbs, this won't be a roadblock. And so, in my experience, and in my teachers, and in my studies, it appears, it seems, it has worked with my clients, and to get the center system strong so the messages and the pathways can be rebuilt easier and smoothly. And plus you'll feel safer when you're walking. Your walking gait will come back better. And the pelvic and the hips, there's so many muscles there. You have so many muscles in your glutes, which is your butt. You need to work these. If you're able to come to the floor and you're able to do exercises such as these, if you can see them in the mirror, coming down to here, bringing that foot up and down, leg stays bent, come down and come up. Abs are engaged, your hips are stable, you're not crashing over in your hips. Lifting and lowering. Do that on both sides. 10 reps, 30 reps, 50 reps, whatever your body's able to do. That also helps build the system for movement, and it builds your glutes up. And it builds core stability, glute stability, pelvic stability, hip stability, which is what you need. Now, some of you may be numbing your arms or sensations and being like that or is uncomfortable. Don't do it. You can stand, and you can't see me completely. Let's get this a little bit further. So you can stand up tall, hold on to something if you need it, tighten that glute, and do little lifts with your leg through here. So you're lifting right from here. Get this a little bit further there. So lifting right through here. So you're not kicking up. You're not trying to bend forward. Your hips and shoulders are nice and stacked. And squeezing those buns, and you're lifting from here. Lift with the glutes, lower the glutes. Don't kick and drop. Lift and lower. You can do that on both sides. Lift and lower. Different angles. Lift and lower. At first, the affected leg may have a hard time moving. Keep practicing. Keep practicing. When you're doing either of those two exercises, whether you're doing this one or the standing up one, lead from your glutes. Don't lead with your foot. So focus on your balance, your engagement, your posture. Make sure you're not tilting to the side on either one. This is strong, knees are down, and you're working your glute muscles. Those help you walk. Those help you move. They all work together. And the more you don't strengthen this area of your body, all through here, your glutes and your core, the more these are weak, you'll have deep spine muscles, like your psoas muscle, that will try to do the job that your glutes need to do. And you'll always have like pain in here, or it might cause you pain in one of your hips or both your hips because the structures are off and you need to get things back in order. So I'm going to do more videos. I kind of rambled with this one. I hear my dog over there crying, so I had to go check on him. But before I go, remember that I have two books right now. I have The Stroke of an Artist. This is my client who had a stroke. You can see he's here doing ball squats in the cover of the book. The Journey of a Fitness Trainer, a Stroke Survivor. It's helped a lot of people. We did this journey because he wanted his story shared to help people, because he has seen people in the gym where I was working that just weren't making the right progress. They weren't being trained right. They were losing hope. So he wanted to bring hope to people. So I did this book with him, and I also wanted it out there because I wanted any other fitness professionals to see the story and maybe learn from it, so they'll have more knowledge and education from my experience, so they can therefore help other survivors too, because I know it's hard to find people who work with survivors. And my other book is, I have my cardboard thing because I just did a talk. The Stroke of an Artist, Tipping Towards Balance. You can see it, Tipping Towards Balance, A Fitness Trainer's Guide to Stability and Walking. In this book, it's not really this big. They're both quite small. They're little books. That has 8 exercises in it. So all the stuff I just showed you here is all in the book, plus some more. And it's about getting your walking gait back, your balance, your core. For anyone with walking stability issues, neurological issues, just throwing your balance off, or just being older, or your feet being off. My website is www.tracymarkley, tracyspersonaltraining.com. It's Tracy, the letter S, and then personaltraining.com. You could order my books there, or there's a link on that website that you can take it to Amazon and order from Amazon, whatever way. If you order straight from me, I'll sign the book and send it to you directly. Here's my dog. This is Wasabi. And this book, The Stroke of an Artist, it's also an audio, because I know a lot of people, survivors, they lose the ability to read, or your caregivers are tired, you don't have time to read. They're not very long books, so it's on audio. All the links are on my website. It's less than 2 hours to listen to it. So that shows how easy it is to read the books or listen to it. They're not long and complicated. But there is a chapter in both my books explaining all the muscles, and even more here, just showing the reasons why you want to strengthen certain things. And we go over proprioception, the neurological system. I also, in this book, go through peripheral vision loss. What else is in there? Numbness and tingling. The spasticity, posture. He had a rotator cuff injury and I met him, and he was always here. When he finally got his posture here, this was able to heal, because this posture will not heal very well here. It needs to go here, then your head and your neck. All the fascia and structures from head to toe can be better if the whole posture. You have to strengthen from the inside out. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. I apologize if the lighting's bad or if the video's weird. I'm actually in my garage, in my studio at home, and I have a new lighting umbrella thing going on here. I'm trying to figure out how to work with it. And yeah. So if you have any questions, you can write under the video, or you can send me a message on my my website, and I can answer what I can. I have just been asked the last month to be on board of medfit.org. It is a company who is putting together certifications and CEC workshops to help get the industry and professionals a little more knowledgeable and educated in such neurological things. There's be a lot of different programs in there. I've been asked to write the stroke recovery and exercise course and the course of scoliosis, so I'm working on those right now. They will be available for you guys to buy them. So as a stroke recovery or caregiver, when these are ready, you can actually purchase it yourself and learn from it as well. You don't have to rely on trying to find another professional that actually took a course and learned on it. So, and I will keep sharing when all that's available. I'm almost done right with the stroke recovery course. I have to do some videos with it. That's why I'm getting all my lights set up. So that should be coming in the next couple months. I'm hoping sooner, but I want to make sure it's done correctly. And so I'm on the Fitness Advisory Education Board for that program, which is very nice. Being in the industry for 20 years, I'm quite honored. And as soon as I get more education out, I'll keep sharing it. I did this video real quick today, and it's kind of long because I'm rambling, and I apologize, because people have been sending me messages and emails and messages on things on Facebook and different internet modalities that we use. Ask me, can you share some more? So any more questions or you want to know more about me, go to my website. And I know last time I did a video, people were really appreciative, but somebody was complaining the lighting was bad, it's not professional. Well, you know what? I'm doing this to be nice in my garage on a Saturday early evening to share what I can with you guys before I can get more to you. So again, if you want to learn more, you can find my books, ask me questions, and I hope this helps people, helps someone. And remember, abs in, sit up tall, shoulder, get these structures strong. Get these strong. It's essential. So, and there you go. Have a good night. And again, I hope this helps as many people as it can. Okay, bye.